industry. We are very confident will look bright thing. There are many young people.
Okay.
There are many young people who are watching us today, particularly young Muslims, for instance, who didn't know that until 1996, the two Muslim holiday festivities were never public holidays.
They weren't.
They were never. So what it meant was that when the Muslims were celebrating those two, they still had to go to work. They still had to go to work. Okay. It took Jerry Rawlings, president then, to say, look, the NDC believes in the politics of inclusivity. We cannot have a large Muslim population in this country and Christians who have the benefit of Christmas, Easter, all of them being public holidays. And when Muslims have theirs, they still need to work. They are not allowed, yeah. And that is what started this whole conversation. And today, after many years, today, anytime Muslims have their festivity, it's a public holiday. Persons who are young may not know that this is the journey we have traveled to get to where it is.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, happy anniversary to you and to all members of the NDC.
Thank you.
And in fact, as they celebrate this anniversary, the weekend wasn't too good for them, as one of their members was arrested by the Ghana police. And in fact, she's been cautioned. We'll get into that shortly. But also, we're expecting Palgrave Boache-Dankwa, he's a government spokesperson on governance. We're expecting him in the studio. So again, if you're close to him, if you have his number, call him. Tell him that his seat is empty. We're waiting for him to come and fill it so we can get into our conversation. But we'll start without him anyway. So today we're looking at two topics. One of them would be the arrest of Phyllis Naa Koryoo, the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Awutu Senya East. And we'll tell you exactly why she was arrested. And later we'll also get into the conversation about Green Ghana. Last Friday, we planted some 10 million trees across the country. And various stakeholders played a role in ensuring that those trees or seedlings were planted, hoping that they would also germinate to become trees, just so we can also cover a depleting forest cover. But at the same time, there are also concerns about how we're planting trees and yet we're cutting down trees and destroying our forest reserves. And Galamsey is a major part of this conversation, so we'll get into that. But let's start off with the issue about Phyllis Naa Koryoo Okuno. She's contesting the 2024 parliamentary election in Awutu Senya East constituency in the central region. It is the same constituency that the current Minister for Fisheries, Mavis Hawa Kumsin, is the MP for. Now, last Sunday, in fact, not just yesterday, the week before, at dawn, we're told that there was some disturbance that erupted, at the EC's office in Kaswa. And we're told that it was due to the transfer of votes that was taking place by the Electoral Commission. We're told it occurred around 5 a.m. on Sunday with members from the NDC and MPP over a disagreement of voters seeking to transfer votes to the constituency. And in the altercation, we're told that Hawa Kumsin's son, Atu Kumsin, was stabbed in the chest and was rushed to the 37 military hospital for treatment after being sent to the Kaswa Police Clinic. And in fact, there were some other people who were injured as well. And as all this was happening, the police were said to have arrested some persons. In fact, 3 persons at Ofanko and Kaswa were arrested for illegal possession of firearms without lawful authority. One of the names that came up was Phyllis Naa Koryoo Okuno. Later, the NDC came out and said she was not arrested. She was invited by the police to show ownership of the firearm that was found in the car that she was in. And she wasn't the only one. Abdulaziz Musa and Mustafa Mohammed were also on board this Honda CRV vehicle that the weapon was found. But she was let go after she was invited to answer questions. Then, over the weekend, on Friday night, we're told that she was arrested one more time. And in fact, after she was questioned, she was not released, she was detained. And the NDC were not happy about this, and so they stormed the Cantonment Police station where she was being kept. They were burning tires, demanding for her release. She was kept overnight and released the next morning, which was Saturday morning. But the NDC has cause to believe that some MPP elements have a hand in what happened to Phyllis Naa Koryoo Okuno. And they started, throwing out allegations. In fact, the chairman of the party said he was very sure, based on some information he got from quarters within the police service, that the IGP, got some, demands from the top of the NPP to have her arrested. How true is this? Because the police have released a statement saying that is absolutely false. So we'll get into it. We need to understand exactly what led to her arrest this time. And counsel, I'll come to you, of course, because you're the only one here. What was the reason for her arrest this time? And why do you think that there are elements within the NPP that had a hand in this?
Thank you. You know, somebody just sent me a message and said the account where there's Atiye ma erefi.
Oh, Atiye, okay.
Ma erefi.
Okay.
But so, as you rightly pointed out, last week Sunday, I had call in the morning, early morning, from Phyllis, giving the indication that as part of the voter transfer, she had just been informed that there was some altercation at the Electoral Commission office. And it has to do with the fact that the two political parties have established a protocol with the police. And the basis of the protocol is that people should not be permitted to join queues. So what the political parties were doing during the voter registration is that at dawn, they will send their supporters to join the queues as though they are coming to register. So later on, when persons who are desirous of registering come, then you leave the queue and allow the person so as to facilitate the quick registration of the person. But this time around, the police met the two parties and said, as by reason of the voter transfer, there shouldn't be that arrangement. Then at dawn, that's around 5 a.m., Hawa Kumsin's son led a group of thugs to say that, look, notwithstanding the protocol, they will go ahead and form the queues. So it brought a whole lot of issues. Some people were injured in the process. So Phyllis then called me and said, look, she had reason to believe that they want to transfer the persons to Greater Accra Regional Police. And so she needed a lawyer to accompany them. So quickly I had to make some calls that would enable a lawyer to go there to assist. So I remember calling, the closest lawyer I had was in Odododuodu, which is so closer to the police headquarters, the regional police. So the person was with them. Back and forth, everything was done. Then later, Phyllis herself called and said, look, the police have invited me that I was in possession of a gun. But then I have the license that was given to me in January this year. So it's a licensed gun. In fact, they took her fingerprints and everything. So she then took the gun together with the license to the Kaswa police. Lo and behold, professional as the Kaswa police were, when they saw the details of the license and others, they basically asked her to go. I mean, self-recognizance bail, knowing who she is within the vicinity. So that was it. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, after we left Atofosin's matter, just when I was about to sit in my car, then she called me that our party supporter that was injured, Osman, they are bringing him to the court. So quickly, I put on my wig and gown and rushed to the court, I think Criminal Court 1. Then the judge came, blah, blah, blah. So the police just came and said, the Attorney General, they came and said, look, this young man, he had been in detention. By the 48-hour rule, they are bringing him to court. So I even applied for bail and told the judge that, oh, Phyllis is here. She can be the surety for him. The judge said, well, it's too early in the day, so she will remand him for 2 weeks. So that's what happened. So when we left, and that was almost 3 to 4, around 5:30, Phyllis called me again and said, the police just sent her a message that they want her at the headquarters the next day, that is Friday at 10 a.m. I said, well, you're already on bail, so there's not much of a problem. I'm sure it's going to be routine, so just go. So by 10, she was there with the other people. Then a colleague lawyer called me and said, oh, Eduje, I'm at the police headquarters to do a different matter. But I've just seen her, so I said, don't go, just be with her. And so this police officer, this lawyer has been with her. So can you imagine when all was said and done, around 5 p.m., then I had an urgent call from her that, Eduje, I'm still here.
From morning?
From morning 10 a.m. I'm still here. But this time round, the police have given me an indication that I'll be detained. So I said, no, How can this be? Thankfully, my colleague, the current director CID, I was called to the bar with her the same day. So I reached out to her with WhatsApp message. I said, Madam, this is what has happened. This is my client. She had already been granted bail by the Kaswa police. If suddenly she comes on her own volition, and this is what you do, it undermines public confidence in the work that you do. No response. I said, that's fine. So I started moving towards the headquarters myself. That's around 5 p.m. to 6. So when I got there, I had a call that she had been moved from the headquarters to cantonment. So I should rather come to Cantonment Police Station. So when I got there, my national chairman was also on the way going home when he had a call. So he also rushed to the CID headquarters. So he was at the headquarters and I was at Cantonment with Sami Jemfi and co. We were thinking that this would happen. So I sat in Sami Jemfi's car and then we went to the police headquarters. Obviously, we met senior police officers there, COPs. What is the reason for detaining her? Look, and like my national chairman pointed out, each one of them said, this is beyond us.
The senior police officers you met?
This is beyond us.
Was the IGP there as well?
Look, I personally reached out to a friend who is so close to the IG and said, look, this thing, it can escalate into something else. So kindly talk to your friend. If she wants daily reports of our candidate, we can ensure that. The response, so about 5 minutes, my friend said, wait, let me make some calls and get back to you. About 5 minutes, the response I got from my friend clearly shows that the IG was not in control.
What kind of response did you get? That
there's nothing the IG can do.
So you're saying that the police are not the ones who asked for her request, for her arrest?
No.
But how is it possible that, a request can come from the top?
You see,
a police institution that's supposed to be independent?
In fact, at the police headquarters, you have a situation where a police person will walk you, a police officer will move you outside and say, look, Chief, I just a muye bibi. Right? I just a muye bibi. I mean, to the point that even officers, because you see, the reason why the national chairman made this point is that, look, myself, my national chairman, Baba Jamal, one honorable Vida Dai, we were with a senior police officer in his office for anonymity reasons. He was handicapped. My national chairman stayed there not less than 4 hours. No word. No word. We make all the calls. Like I told you, I work with police officers. Nobody. In fact, to the point that when we got to Cantonment Police office, I personally went to one of the officers and said, I'm begging, permit me to just have a look at her and just speak to her. They had to make calls whether I should be permitted to go.
When legally you are allowed to.
In fact, so I remember my senior Larik Bevlolate came. Then he asked the police officer, what is happening? Even a call by a lawyer to go and see the client requires approval from who? Back, forth. The regional police commander himself came and said he wasn't well, but when he heard it, he had to rush to this place. And that he is not aware of what is happening. Yes.
The regional commander was not aware that she had been detained?
The regional police commander, I was with him.
Wow.
Throughout. I was with him. In fact, we were pepper sprayed, tear gas, and so we're all like coughing here and there. I'm sure they didn't know that the regional police commander was with us. And so he also got affected by the tear gas. So you could see the tears coming out. And so I remember Mr. Tutubi Kwachi saying, you see, your own people have tear gas you as well. And then we all, kind of laughed. But we stayed there up to after 12 midnight. After 12 midnight. In fact, we had to even give the indication that, you know, Naa Koryoo, she has a young baby. So like a nursing mother. And so at least they should treat her with some, I mean, it's like she's not committed any crime, quote unquote, for, they kept her in cells. All entreaties that day to see her didn't happen. Didn't happen. I have worked with police officers. I will not come and sit on national television to say what didn't happen. No. In fact, myself, Sami Jemfi, we were basically just going back and forth. We told our national chairman to stay at the headquarters whilst we do the legwork. My deputy general secretary, Mustafa Gbande, we were all over. Madam Marietta, Larry Bevrolate, Mr. Totobi Kwachi. All these people were there, and you could not get anybody to give you any explanation. Now, subsequent to the massing up of our party supporters at the cantonment police, I have seen subsequently that the police have issued a statement. And what is the basis of the police statement? The police say they arrested her for unlawful transfer.
Yeah.
That's an afterthought.
How is it an afterthought?
Complete afterthought, Bella. The reason why I'm saying it's a complete afterthought is that on Friday, right, they called the senior police officer who issued the license to her to come. She came and confirmed that I, so and so person, issued this license on and took her fingerprints. Her fingerprints were all taken, and there's a document attached. So away from this issue of unlawful transfer, now Bella, our candidate was in the car, the car
Honda CRV, yes,
with a gun. So when our Deputy General Secretary Mustafa Gbande came, Mustafa then asked her to join her in the car to the registration center. So where is the transfer?
Why did she need a gun at the registration center?
No. I mean, the laws of this country permits you to carry a gun.
I understand, but why did she think she needed a gun at that particular moment?
No. She was now going to the registration. Even at this point, they were no longer registering. It was
a transfer vote, which is what a lot of people are asking that. So did she really need to have a gun?
No. I mean, just having a gun, she didn't use it. It was in her car.
We understand.
So it's possibly this is a gun that has always been in her car for security, personal security.
So it's not as if she specifically carried it there because of fear of being attacked.
I'll tell you something. Possibly the fear, because you see, our candidate has been under attack from Hawa Kumsi not once, not twice. In fact, our constituency secretary, he's late now, was so badly assaulted by Hawa Kumsi's staffs until he died. And these are matters of public record. In fact, the videos are there. Tuareg, until he died. You remember, in the 2020 voter registration exercise, you saw how Madam Hawa Kumsi discharged firearm in a crowd of voters. Regrettably, when she did that, she was never even put under detention for even an hour. Now, somebody who just has in possession of a licensed gun is rather put in cells overnight. What more would be the justification?
Okay.
And that is why we have made the point that the only person higher than the IGP who possibly can be given instruction higher than him is the chair of the police council, who happens to be the vice president of the republic and the president as such. Only these two people have any form of authority beyond the IGP. And you see, Bella, what even makes a bit more, the situation a bit more worrying is that, look, there had been trouble between two people. Only one side had been, quote unquote, arrested and taken to court. Now, when these things happen, the impression is created that the NDC always become the victim of peace. And I say victim of peace because, you see, we have to always bend over for the purposes of ensuring that there is peace. And that is why our national chairman had made this point, that going forward, we are not going to be the victims, the victims of peace or ensuring the peace of this country.
Okay.
We would ensure that our party supporters are protected, and when the need be, whatever is lawfully required to protect ourselves, we will do that.
Including burning of tires at the police station?
And you see...
Including burning of tires?
In fact, the least you can have is burning of tires. In other places, it can be wet. But just to...
Please land for me so I can bring
I'll just land on this. All we are saying is that within the professionals within the Ghana Police Service, they should add professionalism to whatever they do. I even said there was no basis for detaining her because the detention had rather brought more problem than letting her go.
I'll let you hold on with this problem so we can come to it. But let's bring Palgrave Boachidankwa in. He's a government spokesperson and he's just joined us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Was there some traffic on the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we're glad that you're here.
Thank you.
But you've listened to Lawyer Duty Tamaklo, and of course he's narrated exactly what led to her arrest. But a lot of people are asking that, is it really true that there are elements within the NPP who ordered for her arrest, and for what basis?
Well, a very good morning to you and to my good friend Eduji and to the Ghanaian people. I think that it's important that we place the matter in proper context for me. The real issue here is that we are going into a very heated election for 2024. I recall that in the lead up to the election, there are people that need to be registered into the voters' registration. It's a very simple exercise. It's a civic responsibility. It's not an exercise that should cause the death of an individual or should cause people to carry firearms around. We are not in a war zone. Ghana has enjoyed a lot more peace, especially in this Fourth Republic. And I'm concerned to see that parliamentary candidates who are seeking to serve, that's the real goal, parliamentary candidates who are seeking to serve their constituents, who some way, somehow feel that their lives are under threat, have either not made any complaint whatsoever to the internal security of Ghana. And I'm also concerned that Eduji tries to bring in the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana as the chair of the police to be a higher authority. We are aware that there's a Minister for Interior who leads a number of events within the internal security space. It's important that when we are handling such a sensitive issue as it is, we don't bring in the executive because for all you know, they have nothing whatsoever to do. And this is a political discourse where you are churning out truth. And so when you're churning out truth, you don't want to bring interjections whatsoever. I would want to stick to the substance of the issue. The issue is that the parliamentary candidate for the NDC was found in the possession of some pump action guns, 4 rounds pump action guns. I think that should be a concern for every Ghanaian. And that's a concern for me, even as a security expert, that no one in this country, whether licensed or even not licensed, should want to be carrying guns around. Anyone who is a proper Ghana, you never even show your gun. But
she's explained why she's needed to protect herself, because she's been under attack 4 times.
Bella,
you know, from the MP of that area.
Bella, if you have been under attack 4 times, you report to the Ghana Police Service.
And you don't think she's done that?
No, I'm coming. You report to the Ghana Police Service and ask the Ghana Police Service to give you protection. You can request for that. You can't take the laws into your hands. No one in this country is above the law. You can't take the laws into your hands. Even if you have a licensed gun, you can't parade the licensed gun on the streets of Ghana.
Or fire warning shots.
Or even fire warning shots, of course, very much so.
Which your MP, a member of your party, did, and was still not arrested or questioned by the police.
We can go into the substance of the issue and invite her. It's not too late. It's never too late.
This happened in 2020.
Why? It's 2020, 4 years ago.
4 years down the line, and you're saying it's not too late. So why has nothing been done about it?
No, you can't go into an issue that has happened in 4 years. I mean, he's a lawyer. He knows that.
No, you can't. I understand.
Yes, you can always go into the issue.
But not to digress, the concern has been that why is it that when she fired warning shots, she was not picked up by the police, not arrested, not detained? The police, the farthest they went was to tell us that they were planning to invite her to the police station to explain, but nothing of that sort happened. And yet, in Phyllis's case, she was even arrested and detained overnight.
No, you see, for me, I'm not here to do comparisons whatsoever to either state that the police did well or did not do well. Okay, we've moved on from 2020, an issue has happened, nothing has been done about it. The police can call for a further conversation around it if the behavior is still the same. But the matter of the fact is that the NDC is continually putting up a narrative that supposes that if their persons are threatened, they would fire boot for boot. It's not good for us. It's not good for you and I to live and sit on tentacles, not knowing what any of these political devices are trying to do to the state and the peace of this country. That's my concern.
Did you make this statement when Honorable Mavis Howard Koomson fired the warning shot?
I made the statement.
That it was wrong for any
absolutely.
Member of Parliament.
It is very wrong. And you recall that in recent times when the IGP, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, picked up, he has stated that in every electioneering processes, all parliamentary candidates are not supposed to go onto the grounds with firearms. You recall that. And so that's reduced the level. Because you see, that's what I'm saying. Anybody who is a real gunner would not flaunt their firearms around, because firearms is not a pen that you use to write on the paper. It's serious issues, you understand? In recent times, just about 2-3 weeks ago, in another jurisdiction, someone was cleaning his firearms and he shot his lungs. And so it's not something that you can easily toy around and play around with. We must be careful about the issue very well so that it doesn't escalate into anything.
So it is wrong, first
it is
of all.
extremely wrong.
Okay, let me bring you to something, and again, not to digress, but this is July 2020. Mustafa Abdul Hamid. At that time, he was the Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development. This was right after Honorable Mavis Howard Koomson had fired the warning shot. And he said that she should be commended. He said, and I quote, "I must commend her for being bold and ensuring her personal protection. She's proven to me women are up to the task, not just intellectually, but can physically stand up to the thuggery and intimidation of unscrupulous men. She clearly understands her constituency and knows of the evil capabilities of her opponents and wouldn't wait for anyone to harm her." This is his quote. Then I also go to Mr. Freddie Blay. He was then the chairman of the NPP, and he also defended her. And he said that arguably she's one of the calmest. Okay, but then again, there's no evidence of any sort that can suggest her to be a violent individual, even in the face of extreme provocation. Unfortunately, the NDC exploits to stage confusion at registration centers across the country in their quest to discredit the electoral process and create confusion seems to be gaining momentum. Okay, and he says that then she should also not be blamed because she fired the gun in self-defense. So these are two senior people within the party who thought that it was right for her to go ahead and fire this gun at that time, at a point when everybody was calling for her arrest.
Bella, look at the issues very well.
Okay.
We are having a registration exercise, and people are going to register so they can be able to exercise their democratic rights and franchise in an election. It's an opportunity to serve the Ghanaian people. It's not an exchange of guns. It's not an exchange of guns, okay? And you are found in the possession of these arms. And the police has asked for you to come and explain why you have these arms at a registration site, okay? I will not sit here to commend the Honorable Howard Koomson for what happened in the 2020 time.
Registration.
I would not sit here to commend her, because giving a warning shot can have a stray bullet that can kill an individual. And so it's wrong. So I will not sit here to commend her.
So she should have been arrested?
Well, or
at least invited.
No, you see, no one is above the law. You understand? The jurisdiction is that no one is above the law. Whatever that happened, there should have been an investigation. And I'm very certain that there were some conversations that were held with her. You understand?
But there was no arrest.
No, you see, it's neither here nor there. I want to be able to stick to the issue that, yes, you shot a warning shot. There could have been a stray bullet that can kill an individual that you cannot bring back to life. And so it's wrong. You understand? And it's also wrong for you to carry arms, a pump action 4-round gun, into a registration center in your possession. When anyone is angry, the immediate result is to look for what you can use, which is why, for me, it's instructive to see that the Ghana Police Service has stated very clearly that in every electioneering processes, as we have seen thereafter, no MP or even no state official should go into the registration environment or voting environment with a police with a gun.
So why does the law work in certain cases and why does it not work in certain cases?
I don't think the law has no color. I mean, the law has no color of tribe, of race, of ethnicity, of age.
Or party.
Or party.
But in this case, if Phyllis has been arrested and detained
the law has no
for
power.
merely possessing a gun in her car,
the law has no
as
power.
against someone who fired a gun,
Bella, I hear you.
does it not then indicate that
I hear you very
the
clearly.
law is biased?
No, I don't think
depending
so.
on who
I don't think so.
is on,
I don't think so.
the wrong side?
No, you see, I don't think so. The law is made for law and order, okay? And if people are unhappy with an instance and a situation, you are a citizen of Ghana. You can always call for an investigation into the matter. I mean, anyone can call into an investigation into the matter
And they did.
of why anyone.
Asepa did.
Yes.
A number of people did.
Yes, and so they should go and further on ask what has happened to it. You understand? It's important that we don't live in a country where laws are favorites to anybody, because laws are not favorites to anybody. I don't want to live in a country where every single time one person is favored over another. I believe in pure equity. Okay, so if it's wrong for A and it's wrong for B, it should be wrong across all boards. The goal for me, as I see in the 2024 general election, is that I see a certain narrative that is coming from the NDC side, okay, as though the election is already won for them. And the election has not been done. The 2024 general election is yet to be done on the 7th of December. We seated here do not know which of our candidates would win. It is the Ghanaian people who would look at the policies, look at what they intend to see in the future of Ghana, and make a decision on that day when they go to vote. When my aunties and uncles and grandnephews and things go and queue, and they are going to exercise their democratic rights, they are voting for a leader. And we don't need a leader who would not be able to lead very well. So for me, I think that we should put it in context. And it's coming up with all the various narratives that, yes, if as though if they don't win the 2024 general election, then they are not going to accept the results. You understand? But the election has not been done already, which is why for me, when intelligence is being picked up from the various security environments, we treat those intelligence with the highest level of professionalism that we need. And so the issue that happened this weekend is unfortunate. Okay, it's unfortunate that this issue happened. The police has brought out their statements very clearly. They have stated their narratives that led to this. They have granted her bail. Okay, and you see that Awutu Senya East is a very, very contagious and contentious constituency. You understand? But it's not a place where people must stand it into a combat. So it's an admonition both to the NPP and admonition both to the NDC.
But Palgrave, again, if I decide to fire a shot, a warning shot, because I say that my life is under threat, I don't think that I'll be sitting here today. In fact, I'll be picked up even before I decide to fire that shot. Do you get it? So don't you think that you embolden people when they go against the law and nothing is done to them? Whereas there are other people who do it and immediately they are picked up and they are sanctioned. In this case, the police have cautioned them. We're told that the docket is being forwarded to the Attorney General for advice on what to do. Okay, but why did they not act in the same manner when a member of the NPP also, in fact, in that case, was not just in possession of it, she actually fired? So why do you think that people would think that you're not being biased with regards to the law when it comes to members of your political party because you're in government as against members of another party?
No, you see, Bella, you see, it is dangerous if one is favored against another.
Is that not what's happening?
No, I don't want to believe that that is what is happening.
But that's the reality.
No, but then you see, I don't want to believe that that is what is happening because it's dangerous. It's dangerous to think that Eduji is favored more than I am favored. We can't live in an environment like that. In an environment where there's no equity, we cannot live in it like that. And so for me, I don't want us to, if we feel that the Honorable Howard Kumsin's issue has not been dealt with very well, open the conversation. Ask the police to open the conversation. It's not a problem. Ask the police to open the investigation.
They're not doing it at the moment.
No, ask them.
So what do we do? We should still keep asking them.
Ask them. Ask the police. Let them bring out all the various details because it's not right. It's not right for an NPP person. It's not right for an NDC person. What you call a spade, you call a spade everywhere. You can't call it a big spoon. You understand? So for me, I think that it is the heated nature of the 2024 general election and some measures that must be taken to curb certain behaviors that are either arising from our political party as NPP and from the opposition party as NDC, because we have seen what they have done before, or others have seen what the NPP has done before. And so leading into the 2024 general election is important. That, I mean, the police have always set the parameters, they have always set the guidelines that you and I can be safe in this country, that we're just going to exercise our democratic rights and franchise. It's not just an election, it's an election to make a decision on who is going to lead the country over the next 4 years, and an election to make a decision who is going to be in the legislative arm of government, in parliament. You can't go to parliament and not be able to enact laws and not to be able to make contributions on the floor of the house just to go and sit there on occupied space. I think that we should get tired of those kind of politics. We should move ahead the conversation such that when we have parliamentarians who are of repute. We have parliamentarians who are worth the salt. We have parliamentarians that their constituents have decided that when I send this person to parliament, my roads will be done. When I send this person to parliament, my infrastructural projects will be done. When I send this person to parliament, my constituents will be developed. That's the main goal.
All right.
We shouldn't turn the election into an election of combat, an election of war, an election of guns. We don't need the flaunting of all of those. We need the peace and the serenity to ensure that people are thinking and making the right decisions towards such a major election.
I see. Counsel.
Bella, how Akumsen had obtained this dubious distinction as an evangelist of violence in politics. Why do I say so? When in 2020, she went to the registration center and discharged a firearm, right? The crime officer, Central Region, who was supervising this particular investigation, Ruben Asiwoko, for refusing to drop with all the pressure on him, he was transferred to Eastern Region. Bella, when a professional police officer decides to take such a step and the person is transferred, what it does is that it creates a culture of impunity in Hawa. What is Hawa known for? A friend of Akufo-Addo and a member of parliament, a minister of fisheries. So if her friendship with Akufo-Addo alone is enough to embolden her to the point that she can discharge firearm, no serious arrest, no prosecution, rather the person who had the gun in her car, she was not even brandishing the gun, is rather arrested. And my friend Paul Grave is a pastor, a very respected pastor, man of God. He tries to justify that this is not selective application of the law. What are you talking about, Paul Grave? What exactly are you saying? Where, as we speak, there was altercation. The NPP tax who came to the way were holding guns. I was in court to apply for bail for Osman. He had been remanded for 2 weeks. Now the PC has also, in fact, as I speak to you, the two gentlemen who were in the car with her have been invited to come to the police headquarters today. So from here, I'm accompanying them. Have you heard anybody from the NPP invited by the police? And you say this is not selective application of the law? You're a man of God. So at least you should have a better understanding of what is fair. We cannot continue this way. And that is why the national chairman of the NDC pointed out, we will not continue to be the victims of peace. Look, the intellectuals of this country who are witnessing this and they are quiet, the Peace Council, they are watching this and they are quiet. May they not find their voice when we also decide, because you see, it does look like, and I've always maintained this, the very moment the IGP appeared before that parliamentary committee probing the Bugri Nabutin, I said, look, he had lost his authority. Because basically what Akufo-Addo is doing is to blackmail him. Because what Alex Mensah indicated to us, that the IG was not doing what the MPP people wanted. And that is what brought about that secret recording. So you have a situation where the IGP is basically being blackmailed now for fear of being removed. In fact, if you listen, at the time
when, you cannot say that for a fact,
at the time when the tape recording happened, there was growing call within the circle of the MPP that he should be removed. Now, a person who is also looking at his work, would he want to do anything as a professional? I mean, this is obvious. And we are saying that, look, such conduct undermines the democracy that we are having. Bella, can you look at a situation where you as a parent with 2 kids, you favor one upon the other? You favor one, you don't do the same to the other. Now, when you come preaching fairness to these 2 kids, they'll either say your appreciation of fairness, and that is why, was it Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who made the point that, listen, when someone who is oppressed is having an issue and you say you are neutral, what you have done is to relate with the oppressor. What? And you see, like we pointed out, it appears there are a lot of professionals within the Ghana police, but there are others who have also decided, respectfully, to trade that professionalism to keep pleasing Akufo-Addo. At the police headquarters, when my national chairman was there, Baba Jama and others, I asked the senior police officer that, Commander, our president is 80 years old with barely 6 months to go. You want to destroy an organization to please him? He just did like this. He couldn't utter a word. Because he saw how profound my statement was. Because I said, look, what is the business of trying to please 80 years old man who has nothing to lose? In any case, your organization has its motto, service with integrity. Where is the integrity when selectively you apply the law? As I speak to you, you have no idea the number of NDC supporters that have been arrested nationwide. Look, my phone, as I speak to you, my phone. Look, if you go to Drobonso, they have arrested my party person. If you go to Kumewu, they have arrested. And basically, that is what they are doing. If you go to Damongo, they are doing the same thing. Eastern region, they are doing the same thing.
They're doing the same thing as in what? What are they doing?
No, they arrest of my party supporters.
They're arresting them for what reason?
Because of their registration. Look, the last time, I had cause to show you how gerrymandering is done with the transfer. And so we have taken a position to police that whole thing. You recall how the Electoral Commission at a point even came and said, they will not permit our agents to be there. Later, they had to backtrack when we indicated that we were not going to comply with that unconstitutional directive. That is what is happening. But we can assure you people, we can assure you.
That what?
That, look, we have equal stake in the development of this country. We are not second-class citizens. We are not.
Counsel, I've heard your party members say when the Hawa Kumsin issue happened, that when you come into power, if you come into power, you're going to prosecute her. Do you still stand by that?
The laws of this country must work.
So you stand by
Absolutely.
going ahead to still prosecute her if nothing is done?
In fact, like my national chairman pointed out, there's the day of accountability is coming. And it's coming so soon that whoever, it doesn't even matter whether you are Howard Kumsin or Howard George or whatever, once you have violated the laws of this country, we would ensure that the laws apply. They wouldn't be selective, and H.E. John Dramani Mahama had made a point clear.
We'll hold you to this.
Who you are. Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let me read a few messages before I bring Palgrave in. Good morning, Gabriela Tete. She says that she never flaunted the gun anywhere. It was pulled out of the car by the NPP boys who ransacked her car at the EC Center in the presence of the police. How come the boys who ransacked her vehicle are not being invited by the police too? Secondly, how Akumsin's son was who incited the violence is chilling at UGMC, while the guy whose head he's caused multiple lacerations is in police cells where he collapsed from blood loss. Where does Palgrave's so-called equity apply in this situation where the weight is tilted against one side? Another one, he says that this is what Palgrave's party said when Howard discharged a gun in 2020. The national youth organizer of the ruling NPP, Henry Nana Boakye, has said the decision by MP for Awutu Senya East constituency to fire warning shots was justified. Did he condemn this action? Is he an honest man of God? Why is he playing with our intelligence? And what is difficult in condemning what Howard did? What would you say to these two comments that have come in?
No, Bella, I think that prior to these conversations, I've condemned it. I mean, I think maybe people missed that conversation. I clearly condemn the act. I mean, if there's selective instrumentalization of the law, and I've stated that there isn't. You understand? She said that under the occasion and the environment, she felt her life was threatened. Okay? That's what she said, that she felt her life was threatened. And so she issued a warning shot. And I said that issuing a warning shot in the midst of a registration process is not right.
But having a licensed gun on you, without necessarily even bringing it out or brandishing, that's not wrong, is it?
No, but then the law is not against you having a licensed gun.
Okay, on you,
not, yes,
wherever.
So
that means that in this case, there was no need for them to arrest Phyllis?
Hold on.
Okay.
The law is not against you having a licensed gun. But you see, you must not always be carrying your gun everywhere.
Where should you carry it to?
No, it's the truth.
Where should you carry it?
It's
in
the
my
truth.
car.
Hold on, counsel.
It was not put out.
Hold on, counsel.
You understand?
Does the law say you cannot carry your gun?
The law doesn't say that, but
Okay.
you must. And that's why I stated that every proper gunner does not brandish the guns around.
But
like
that's
a
what they're
pen.
saying, that she
She
didn't
never
brandish
brandished it. It
Hold
was
on,
in a car.
counsel, please.
Hold on,
Please.
hold on.
So, and this is not the first time I'm hearing, even though Gabriella has said it, that she didn't brandish the gun. It was in her car. In fact, it was not even the police that pulled out the gun. It was, some party members of the NPP, the boys on the other side, who were the ones who ransacked the car and picked the gun. Have you heard that as well? And if that's the case, then does it justify her not having to be arrested for this?
Bella, when the police come into an environment, they would always need to find out what has happened. And they would invite you for you to make a statement of claim so that the police can understand what preceded to these actions. That's very clear. And that's important. Now, we don't need to look at what happened in the past to justify an act that has happened now or to condemn and not to condemn. I have stated very clearly that it's not right for you to be having in your possession, even if it's licensed, and brandishing it around or issuing warning shots because you feel your life is under threat.
But if you don't brandish it, then legally it is fine.
Very much so.
So in this case,
a lot more discretion.
in this case, Phyllis is not guilty.
I am not. I can't declare that.
Well, what I'm saying is, should she not have? She should not. I cannot. Yes,
no one can.
But then she
It's
should
just
not
the
have
law.
been arrested if, by what we're hearing, she did not
statement.
bring that gun out of her car.
I can make that statement whether she should be arrested or she should not be arrested.
U.S. security intelligence,
Which is why I'm stating that
professional, which is why I'm
all
asking
of my in all of my knowledge and my understanding, gun must be in the hands of responsible people.
Okay.
You understand? When you are licensing a gun, you are licensing a gun with the background of the individual that you are licensing for. And for the purposes that the person will not use the gun indiscriminately. In fact, in other jurisdictions, these licenses are even withdrawn from you if people feel that you are not using the gun in the manner in which you must use it. And so for me, we must have a forward conversation.
Which is what?
If the Ghanaian people feel, and I feel the same, that what Howard Kunsin did in 2020, if we feel that those issues have not been dealt with, bring back the issue
How
to the
do you
table.
feel? And would you be the one to bring back that issue and ask the police to actually
No,
arrest
you
her and
see,
investigate?
I have had a very simple analogy that I work with, okay? In this country, there are structures and there are hierarchies that work. I'm very, very low over there, which is why your platform that you're giving today, I'm advocating that, yes, of course, if it's going into a very heated election like it is now, and the issue is not buried as it should have been, and it's coming up again, it's proper for the police to call her.
Would you lead that charge?
No, you see, Bella, you can't ask that question.
Why can't I? You are asking that if anybody feels it was wrong, we should push for that to happen.
No, because you
have clearly stated that you thought it was wrong what she did.
My advocacy.
Would you lead the charge?
No, my advocacy is to ensure that the right things are done in this country.
Okay.
Okay. And so people are listening, people are watching. You understand? So her name has come up again. If she feels right that what happened is not right, she should be able to have conversation with the police. The police intelligence is also watching this. If they feel that the opposition party has not fully buried the issue that happened in 2020 and is now doing major comparison, it's important that the Ghana Police Service invite her. Because you see, Bella, we are moving into a stage of our development where these conversations should be a thing of the past. We can't always be on national TV discussing such narratives that does not inure to the peaceful nature of Ghana. So Awutu Senya is constituency, the constituents, the inhabitants. You have a member of parliament who is in the person of the ruling party, and then you also obviously the other smaller political parties that are there. It's important that in the harmony of peace, you should be very, very mindful and minded how you walk around with even your so-called legalized weapons. Okay. Because weapons must be in the hands of responsible people. Weapons are not supposed to be in the hands of irresponsible people.
Okay.
And if persons have weapons that are in their hands, that they are using it irresponsibly, I would admonish that the small arms and the Ghana police and the Interior Ministry should record those weapons, because we need the peace and serenity in this country. I need the peace and serenity in this country. Likewise you and likewise Eduji. So let's not brandish this. If we feel that the issues have not been buried well, call the issues forward again. It's not too late.
Now you're calling that they should even withdraw the licenses of people, irresponsible
of course,
people.
Absolutely. If people have guns that they are using it indiscriminately, withdraw their licenses.
So like maybe they should have withdrawn it by now.
Withdraw it, absolutely.
Are you going to lead the charge to ask the police to do that?
You see, Bella.
That's what I keep asking you, but you seem to be going around.
My scope of work, right? My scope of work is to advocate. And so I'm keeping to my line and scope of work. To advocate, and which is why I have this platform. So
advocates for the police to invite her.
Which is why I've made a statement. I've made a statement.
You haven't clearly said that, which is why I'm asking you.
I've made a statement.
Because you're saying that everybody else should do it.
I have made
but that's not your job necessarily.
I've made a statement.
Okay.
That if the issue has not been buried very well, it's important that we bring back the issues again so we can have a broader conversation.
I want us to move on to the next
topic. I don't want
topic.
the NDC to have a justification for continually doing things that is wrong.
Okay.
Because we need to ensure that the harmony of the election, the 2024 general election, should be peaceful, it should be fair, and it should be unadulterated of any chaos whatsoever.
All right. Good morning, Money Neyman. He says, Pagre, if you call on God, he will listen to you.
you know, for me, my final take on this matter is that, look, the NDC is simply calling for fair, just application of the laws of this country. Where it's clear that somebody fires into the air in a registration center, nothing happens to the person. And another person who is engaging the police command, her car is ransacked, a gun is pulled out, and she is rather arrested and detained. It clearly undermines the rule of law and establishes a culture of impunity. That we have said we will not be victims of. That I can assure you. No amount of blackmail would work. And we have made the point clear that there is no statute of limitation on crime. The day of accountability is coming. And you see, the likes of Hawa Kumsen must begin to have their Damascus moment. She cannot continue to be the evangelist of political violence. She's a woman for Christ's sake. Where from this attitude? That in every election cycle, she becomes the poster girl of political violence.
No, you can't say that.
That is what she is.
But this happened in 2020. So if you say that every election she becomes a poster girl, when else has she...
Do you know the activities of Hawa?
When else?
Look, from 2020, she had been engaged in this political violence, not once, not twice. I've shown you. In fact, I'll leave the video of my constituency secretary, Tuareg, assaulted by Howard's boys until this guy died. So these things we hold dear. And that is why we have made the point that we will not, going forward, be the victims of peace. Okay. I believe that if we have to get to the point where we would all have to sit down and jaw, we will get to that point. Because you see, anytime our friends in the MPP, they do this, they have that protection. Why should it be so?
Well, let me read some messages. Okay. So, did she use the gun? That's Prosper Mensah. Keeping your gun in your vehicle, does that mean you're using the gun? The man is just suffering to defend wrongdoing. And Seydu says, Bella, please ask Palgrave if she's not supposed to carry the gun. Why then did she register it? Is it not for protection and security? He should be real and stop defending what is wrong. Okay. Bella, is Palgrave speaking law or what? His view of right or what is his view of right or wrong? Okay. Not only, well, people are quite surprised. They didn't know you were a pastor. But anyway, Obiba Papa Nkesia says, Bella should be smart to know Palgrave doesn't make calls on who is guilty or not. I believe she prepared before coming with questions. Okay, I hear you. But, I mean, I needed to ask that question just so we can get an understanding of where Palgrave stood on this matter. Let me see any more. Okay. Well, good morning, Niboy Jefferson. The Peace Council and Religious Council should call for a sit-in with the President, Vice President, Chief Justice, IGP and EC. Enough is enough before December 7th. That's New Dig, Ni Atukwe Kwe. And, well, Master Planner says it is not only NDC members that have been arrested as Eduzi is trying to create a picture on. In my constituency, Kintampo North, both NPP and NDC members were arrested. Palgrave is in the studios because he's a lawyer. Huh? Not yet. He's not a lawyer. He's now working towards becoming one, but not because he's a man of God. Eduzi should make his point and stop attaching his personality to this issue. Just because Eduzi wants to touch on the emotions of the viewers to like his submission, he's resorting to personality matter.
No, I mean, Palgrave and I were basically in Legon together.
Okay.
So his pastoral work is notorious. That's all that I was referring to.
I see. Abdul Aziz says
he's a man of God.
The NDC candidates brought the gun at the scene to use it, and she has granted an interview on many media stations, and she has confirmed with herself that she brought it to use it. Okay.
Bare-faced falsehood.
Well, I know she's spoken a few occasions on the need to protect herself because she's felt that she's been under attack.
For the reason for keeping the gun in the car. And she never brandished it. That's established.
Okay. It is shocking how people can see this double. Okay, I don't know who you're referring to, but I think I'll leave it there. Let me see. Bella, please let Palgrave know he's why do you say he's not an honest man of God? You cannot judge that. I'm sorry, but you cannot say that. I cannot read this. I apologize, Palgrave, for this. But time is up, unfortunately. I wish we could move on to the next topic.
No, Bella, just
but we cannot touch on
just
it.
1 minute on this.
1 minute?
Yes,
on which one?
On the next topic.
The tree planting, Green Ghana.
You see, we strongly believe
each.
that we need to keep the environment in place. But if you watch a situation where a leading member of the MPP, a parliamentary candidate for Wasa, Amenfi is for that matter, NS Frimpong,
yes,
can specifically tell Galamsey that if police officers come within your area, attack them, then what would be the basis of planting trees only to destroy them? Today, our cocoa production had fallen. And one of the reasons assigned for the fall in cocoa production is the activities of Galamsey. It's a matter that should concern anybody. And when such a statement is made in the presence of the regional minister Western region, the chairman of RECSEC, it tells you that, excuse my language, we've gotten to the stage of a banana republic. No accountability whatsoever. Have you seen Mr. President Akufo-Addo call this erring minister and the parliamentary candidate to order? No.
Well, let's see if he will. Palgrave.
Tree planting. I think that the government has done extremely well over the years, especially in the second term. We've been very focused with planting over 40 million trees and seedlings and having about 70% plus actively working. We should inculcate the constant habit and responsibility to keep our forests and to keep our climate and to ensure that the trees that are planted over the years, we nurse it, we grow it, and we ensure that we contribute a lot more carbon, reduce the carbon emissions in the country. And so I'm glad with the exercise that happened last week where the president planted the first tree at the Nicholson Park in Bemakam to signify our continuous interest in greening Ghana.
Did you partake in it?
I did.
Oh, okay. How many seedlings did you plant?
Oh, I just planted one.
Just one.
Just
What's
okay.
the cost of
I
the
see.
tree planting?
Anyway.
Oh, I think that over the years, for 2024, the government contributed about 1.5 million Ghana cedis. But it's always from the private sector.
Well, we'll borrow into it a lot more later this week. But thank you all so much for watching. Palgrave Boakye Danquah is the government spokesperson on governance, and Awutu Tamaklo is the head for the legal team for the NDC. Why are you not inviting? I was going to say invite Palgrave.
So he will come and do the